Good evening. Can people hear me? Good evening in the back. Hello, everybody. There we go. We're starting only a few minutes late. And I want to welcome everybody here tonight. So thank you for coming. And I got to say, about an hour ago, I was really nervous that we'd have anybody else in here sharing chips and cornbread and stuff. So I appreciate people being steadfast in braving some, seasonal weather. So thanks for showing up. I am going to, so we have 6:34 p.m. So we're going to kick off our annual meeting of the membership here at Woldumar. I'm Kevin Goodwin. I'm the board chair this year, just kind of playing the role of welcoming you this evening, and hopefully we'll move through our agenda expeditiously, share some good information, some celebrations of accomplishments of the year, and kind of appreciate everybody for being here. So the first order of business, as it is with most of our board meetings, is to work through and approve the minutes from last year's meeting. Now, I don't know how many of you were there last year and how well you remember last year, but we've got copies of the minutes, and hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at them. This is the point at which, if you see something in here that you think was incorrect from your remembrance of a year ago, first of all, good for you. Second, let us know. If you see spelling errors, things like that, let us know, and we can make those changes. Barring that, if we've got folks that have looked through this and are willing to entertain a motion to approve the 2020, let's see, that would be the 20, what am I looking at here? The 23 minutes, right? Yeah. What year is it? Man. Approving the 23 minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve those. Read a motion? We got a motion in the back. Is it Russell? Yeah. Yeah, Russell, look at that. Can I get a second? Second. I got a second here from Melissa. All right, so everyone who is you can vote as a paid member. Hopefully you're here as a paid member. This is one of the great rights and responsibilities you've got, is to be able to put your hand up or say yay. So all in favor of approving the 2023 minutes as written, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. All right, that's unanimous. Those minutes pass. Thank you for that. Well done. And we will move right along to our executive director report. And you'll hear more from me shortly.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. And thanks again to all of you. I'm so impressed. I'm so happy to look out and see, the folks that are here in this room, the folks that are online right now. It's really, it really means a lot. It really means a lot to have this number of people show up on a night like tonight. Allie, I see that smile over there. I'm going to advance these slides that Allie worked so hard on. Here we go. There we go. So executive director's report. So, as I thought back on the year, to give some comments at tonight's meeting, I guess the thing that really stood out to me was number one, the success of this year. This was a hugely successful year for this organization in really every imaginable way. But what really stood out to me was the number of people who put their blood, sweat, and tears on the line to make this year happen. So there's just a couple of things I wanted to highlight from the year. First off, the first thing that came to mind was the prescribed burn that we had back in the spring. And to me, it's just like the perfect analogy for this year, because if you've ever been a part of one of these controlled burns, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. You have to apply for permits. You're doing walkthroughs. You start this planning in the fall for something that's going to happen in the spring. And like something as simple as a windy day or a wet spring can totally derail the whole thing. And really, the folks that made this happen were volunteers from Eaton County Pheasants Forever. We had representatives from a couple of fire departments that came over to help out with this, to make sure that it was done safely, make sure that we were really applying the right amount of fire to the right areas to get the right kind of regeneration on the prairie that we were looking for. So all this work goes into it, not really knowing what the results are going to be. And to me, it just really it exemplifies what we experienced this year. So moving on from there, the other really big thing that happened this year, a few years ago, we added a staff position. We hired our first development director. And about a year ago, Lauren Smith, who's out here somewhere. Oh, there she is, back in the room. Lauren Smith joined our staff a year ago. And the success that we've experienced from that development level, the grants that we've been awarded, the growth in membership, the growth in fundraising. Lauren, I'm so impressed with the work that you've done this year. And again, it's kind of that idea of putting yourself out there, taking some chances. Asking for money is really hard and it's kind of awkward, and Lauren does such a great job of it. We were awarded a really important grant this year. It was something that really changed the way we did summer camp this summer. I mentioned this in my report, but we had staff members that had to go out and get extra training, leave the state to go get training, do online training for hours and hours. So that we could really improve our camp, open up additional seats, offer additional scholarships, it was Allie Shigley who was our camp director. It was Ashley Austin. We were approaching summer and we were really struggling to find somebody to be our lifeguard. We had a lot of applicants. We had a lot of issues with their availability and that sort of thing. And Ashley, who joined our team as a naturalist last year, I just kind of, hey, Ashley, how would you feel about being our lifeguard this summer? Sign me up. And she did it. She went out and got the training. She learned how to drive the boat, and she stepped right up and did it. And that's the kind of staff, those are the kinds of volunteers that we have around here. They see a job that needs to be done and they get out there and they do it. And then the last example of people pulling together, I said in my message, it's definitely more of a somber example of this, but we lost a longtime staff member this year, who's sitting in the crowd right now, but Victoria Churchill. Victoria had worked here for 10 years. She gave a lot to this organization. She was ready to move on, and it created a void. We had a really well-qualified candidate come in who was really passionate about the position, really took it on, and that was Emily Root, who was tragically killed after about a month on the job and left a void. So, obviously, it was a tragic event. Something that was a real challenge for the organization. But again, people came around the organization, people held us up, people made this place work. And we didn't just get by, we really thrived through all of these changes, through all of these challenges this year. So as somebody myself who's been around the organization for a lot of years, I'm going into my 11th year as the director here, hopefully. I think we've got a few months to get that figured out. But yeah, going into my 11th year as the director here, I haven't felt this optimistic. I haven't felt this level of support in all of my time here. So again, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank the staff. I want to thank the board. Because it really has been an amazing 2024, and I'm really looking forward to 2025. Thank you.
What's my slide? Oh, crayfish. Okay, good. That's important. So, everything Kevin said, that's all. From a board perspective, I was sitting last night going through, as exciting as it sounds, the minutes from every month's meeting to kind of reflect on sort of what this year has meant, because you lose track of this stuff. And as I reviewed these minutes and looked at all the work that the staff had done and all work that the trustees have done to keep this place afloat, and the volunteers and the board. And I got, just got struck, like Kevin said, with just kind of the amount of things that people do and get done over the course of a year here. And so we're going to hear about some of that in more detail from staff and others too, so I won't kind of get on that stuff. But as if you were here last year this time, I think I talked about that we were kind of embarked on a rethinking of our strategic plan. And I'd like to say it's all finished and buttoned up, but the procrastinator in me can't. But we are closer, and I think we're getting pretty close to having this thing finished up, sort of this new kind of guiding document towards the organization. But when the board and the staff went through the process of the strategic plan, kind of visioning and some breakout sessions, a term came up that resonated with a lot of us very quickly, and it was nature for all. And that was one of the things that I was thinking when I was working through the minutes and looking on the Facebook page, the different ways that I think all of us in this room and others who aren't in this room touch and are touched by this place. And so I think that's why that nature for all statement kind of resonated with us, because while we all get different things out of here, there's a commonality about Woldumar and this place that's so important, and that we all find kind of nature here in our own ways. And whether it's looking, again, appreciating the posts on Facebook page, which I don't do, but I'll like them. Looking at camp pictures, which is, the obvious like joy in the kids' faces as they're running around here. I brought my son, who's a senior this year, who spent many years at camp, out for his senior pictures. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only kid who has senior pictures taken here. But when we talked to our otherwise reticent, quiet, stoic 18-year-old boy and said, where do you want to do senior pictures? After he was done rolling his eyes about pictures at all, he said, I don't know, Woldumar. And I said, right. And so there's these pieces that like kind of lock into them. We've got weddings that come out here for this place, for what this place looks like, for where they can get their photos taken, these like kind of lifelong keepsakes, finding this place in nature to share that. Folks, many of you who come out here and do stewardship weekends and spend time out here volunteering your effort and time to kind of advance our mission. That's important to you. If you come away, I've already talked to, I think, 3 people tonight. They're all talking about like dog walking. I mean, you have a dog, you walk a dog out here at some point, right? Bird watching, or just literally sitting on a bench in the pawpaw grove, staring at the water and just kind of thinking. So again, that nature for all thing, I think, resonates with me. And as I look through the accomplishments of the year and the ways people interact with this place, I just think that's such an important thing to kind of remember for me. One of the other kind of themes throughout our strategic plan are these kind of visions that lead to the goals that we're going to kind of structure it around. And we really group them as this education, stewardship, and community. And now education is a clear, obvious one, because our mission is to educate people about the natural environment. And that theme runs through kind of everything that gets done here by Kevin and the staff and by the board and everybody else. So from an educational standpoint, I mean, camps, as Kevin said, like gangbusters this year. I mean, the increase in camp membership and participation was unbelievable. Continuing doing programs, adding things like bird walks, hikes, obviously school groups, both on-site, off-site, that kind of a thing. Again, that educational component is kind of steeped in everything that gets done. Stewardship, clearly, just taking off. And I saw Emma around here. I don't have my glasses. There she is. Some of us come out and do these invasive species every other weekend pulls. It's an amazing effort and an amazing group of people that come over and over again to kind of work and chip away at this, these problematic invasive species. And whether it's people coming and picking up trash, whether it's businesses that want to come out, community members that want to come out, schools that want to come out and help out, that stewardship component, that giving back, that participating in keeping this place afloat is so critically important. And then community events. So again, we've got education, stewardship, and community. Our community events, again, things like the trail run, which again, you're never going to catch me running on the trail, but I'll certainly come and enjoy it. If you come and listen to bluegrass, the plant sale, all these things that kind of help bring people to this place. We've got membership hikes this year. So again, if you're here and you're a paid member, hopefully you've taken advantage of some of these benefits. Membership hikes, there's one Friday morning. Cocoa in the Cabin's coming up this weekend. Naturally Curious Day was this year too. So again, trying to create more spaces for us to gather and do things. Not that the annual meeting is not an amazing event. Thank you for being here. But other times we can come out and kind of enjoy this space and enjoy each other. All of these things happen because of all the people in this room and a lot of people who can't be in this room tonight. And so from a board perspective, I feel so lucky to have a staff that I don't have to worry about if I come right down to it. We've just got absolute rock stars here at Woldumar, and our staff and our seasonal folks that they hire, as Kevin said, work so hard to keep this place moving, to shift where they need to, and do things like that. That it really is such an amazing benefit to those of us who appreciate this, is to have these staff. And so thank you guys so much. Volunteers, again, if you're here, probably many of you have actually volunteered here before, and if you haven't, what a great opportunity. But these volunteer opportunities are also so critically important, and I'm so thankful to be able to show up on a Saturday morning to cut bittersweet and poison it, and to have a whole bunch of other people who are really geeked about cutting bittersweet and poisoning it also, Trustees, we've got trustees here who help keep our bottom line afloat, manage and maintain our endowment, through their volunteer efforts also. So we're not all just volunteering by cutting and killing bittersweet. We volunteer in different ways. So trustees that help manage that endowment fund, keep that money coming in, keep kind of that buoyancy to the organization, especially if the market's doing well, and that sort of chronic support of that, so appreciated. And then we've also got the board. So I've got 10 of us on the board right now, so I've got 9 partners on this who all show up various forms on committees and do this work. And so we've got committees that our fund development committee that works with our fund development director and Kevin to kind of look at how we move from kind of just sustaining the organization to growing the organization and looking forward to that growth. Grounds and facilities crew that deals with figuring out what needs to be fixed, when it needs to be fixed, how we organize the stewardship programs, and then how we quickly pivot when something, of course, always breaks and goes wrong. Public relations committee that works on things like communications, logos, logo designs for the trail run, drone footage of the prairie, things like that. If you've seen that online, if you've seen it on the Facebook page, that's our PR crew, and largely it's Randy sitting right back there manning all the electronics. We've got a finance committee that works so hard at working on things like how we spend, how we save, how we allocate our funds, and what that looks like from year to year, and making sure we're being strategic about all of that. A DEI committee that's working on diversity, equity, and inclusion to figure out throughout the entire organization how we can make this truly kind of live that nature for all sentiment, how we support and really build up anyone who wants to participate and be a part of Woldumar. And last but absolutely not least are all of you in the room. Anyone who is here who pays a membership, who shows up even that way and just walks your dog or doesn't walk your dog, just comes out here, are supporting the organization. I mean, this could not exist without your memberships and your dues. And so thank you at that level, at the basis, for just being part of this organization. So a lot of thanks. I really feel very lucky to be part of this, and I'm really looking forward to the new year and what it's all going to bring, and seeing what we talk about 12 months from now. So with that, thank you. I think we've got treasury report next. Let's see if I can do this right. I'm going to see what you get for a picture. I got a crayfish. Ooh, trees. Trees. Move mine. One.
Do we need that, or use this?
That's. Oh, okay. I don't know if that'll pick it up. You want to do Rockstar?
Whichever. Hello, I'm Jason Wilkinson, the treasurer for Woldumar. Woldumar continues to be in a strong financial position. It is a great thing to be able to, as the treasurer, to say that every month at our board meetings, and to say that every year in the annual meeting. And having been a board member now for 9 years, I think it's been getting stronger every year. And Kevin has done an amazing job weathering the storm of COVID and just seeing where we're at now. Fantastic. Expenses are up, which is something feels like I've said the last few years as well. That said, expenses includes things like special projects, or what you might think of as kind of those emergency projects. Oops, we need to replace the boat, we need to fix the elevators. And the fact that we've had the ability to do that, and we've been smart about doing that, has been fantastic. Things like replacing the locks and replacing the fire extinguishers, things like that, those things that have to happen. It feels, you don't want to have to do those things, but it's good to know that we can do that and we're not cutting any corners. We're doing the things that need to be done. Revenues up significantly. One of the fantastic things to look at there, when you see the grants and restricted funds, the second line under revenue, way up, 150,000 increase, not too shabby. Positive cash flow, Kevin and staff do a fantastic job maintaining that positive cash flow, and we're happy to have some good fiscal cushion. We've got some certificates of deposit, all making a little north of 5%. So things that we can, and on a rotating kind of basis, so a 12-month, an 18-month, and 24-month, so that we have something to fall back on if we need it. So all that comes back around to say that the risk is also well managed. There are controls in place. There's transparency, and you'll see in your report that anyone who wants to take a look at the audit or take a look at any of the financials, we absolutely willing to open up the books and let people get in there. I feel very safe, whether you want to call it a monetary investment, a community investment. I feel safe knowing that any money, whether it's my money or time or whatever, that's invested in Woldumar is absolutely being used to the best possible use, and that Kevin and his staff and the rest of the board are doing a fantastic job with that. So feel safe, feel great about all of that. And I'm sure you've gotten the ask before, and you'll continue to get those asks. And I want you all to feel good about those, knowing that it's all getting put to good use in a great way. Questions on finances? All right, let's go to more finances with the endowment trustees. JB. Oops, I hit a button. Uh-oh, I hit the wrong button. You're back.
Good evening. Is this working? Yeah. My name is JB McCombs. I'm one of the 3 trustees of the Woldumar Endowment Charitable Trust, lovingly known by its acronym of WECT. A little bit of history on that. The trust was created in 2001 as a separate legal entity from Woldumar Nature Association, but we are tightly affiliated because our only job is to invest the funds that were given and take a calculated amount every year from those investments and distribute it to Woldumar. And we do that, for example, this year, we had a total of, where's my numbers? $42,400 that the endowment trust distributed to Woldumar for its operations in 4 equal distributions. And I have the last one here tonight for Kevin, so don't let me forget. The current balance of the trust is about $920,000, and it is my fervent goal to live to see that hit $1 million. And so I'm hanging in there. There's a mathematical formula in the trust agreement that tells us how much we can distribute every year. It's based on the investment success of the prior year. So that this check and the other three that preceded it for 2024 were based on the 2023 calendar year investment results. So 24, which we're about to end, investment results from this calendar year will determine the amount we're able to distribute next year in 4 equal installments. If the market holds from here to the end of the month, which it looks like it might, we'll distribute an even greater amount next year, $44,000 or $45,000, somewhere in that range, over the course of next year. So it's just great news. Every once in a while we have a bad year and then we kind of cringe. The formula doesn't come out so well. And then Melissa Hatfield is one of the other trustees. She's also the mother of 4 school-age children, so you can guess that she's doing something with one of them tonight, including a doctor's appointment in Ann Arbor. Our newest trustee, David Baker, is right back here. He's got his hand up there so you can see him. He just joined us this year, and that's all there is to say. Are there any questions about the endowment trust?
All right, up next we have Stephanie giving an update on our stewardship and volunteering.
I don't want to use this microphone. I can actually use my voice to fill this room, but I'm not allowed to yell at you guys. So I am here instead of Judy. Hopefully she's watching and I don't butcher all of her numbers. She sent them to me a couple nights ago, and Woldumar would not be able to do what it does without volunteers. And I see a lot of volunteers in this crowd, so thank you. So for this year, we had over 140 different volunteers working at Woldumar, putting in over 2,000 hours of support across different programs and events. For programs, between the 5K trail run, native plant sale, and Naturally Curious Day, there was 40 volunteers helped to make that happen. I don't know how that split is, unfortunately. I'd love to give you that, but I can't. Grounds and gardens require a lot of maintenance. Over 100 volunteers have helped to keep the grounds and trails in order. There are a number of organizations and companies that have brought volunteers here. Amongst those, Lake Trust Credit Union, Lansing Christian School, General Motors, Lansing Catholic Central High School, Wilson Talent Center, and Whole Foods. In addition, there was a prairie burn in April, and that was done in partnership with Eaton County Pheasants Forever, Michigan DNR, and area fire departments. We had 5 or 6 people come to do that. It's a pretty hefty task. It's been a while since I've participated in a burn, but there is a video on the YouTube channel, and I encourage you all to check it out. On top of that, actually check out the prairie because it is really cool. And the reason we do that is in order to kind of knock back the invasive species. There isn't a whole lot going on in the prairie, but there are some. And then it really encourages growth of native species. And then that gets into our invasive plant stewardship program. Every other Saturday, we have a group that meets, and we've been focusing mostly on getting invasives out. So cutting a lot of bittersweet, cutting a lot of honeysuckle, buckthorn, privet, pulling garlic mustard. There's a ton of stuff out there that is starting to overtake some areas. And our biggest goal is to make sure that we are protecting some of our more sensitive areas out here, kind of pushing back against that, and just trying to make it so that we still have biodiversity. Emma back here is the one who actually kind of got this off the ground, or kind of, she did. She and I take turns leading groups, and I see a number of volunteers out here. I'm not going to call out everybody because, you know, nobody likes that. So we have done a lot of work out there. This is the one that I can definitely speak to because it is where I put a lot of my effort in because frankly, I like killing things. Some things. Used to be honeysuckle, now I have a hatred for bittersweet. I wish I could go after the Phragmites. I'll just stop there. The other thing, and this is me going off script, so sorry, Judy, but I'm going to do it anyway. I want to thank both Judy Gigante and Kevin Falposh. He's not here tonight. Hopefully he's watching on YouTube. Hopefully Judy is as well, but together, they put in so many hours of service for this organization. It boggles my mind. I am guaranteed to run into at least one of them if I come out here unannounced. So just wanted to say thank you to them, and thank you to all of you who volunteer.
Okay, up next, we're going to hear from a couple of staff members, get some updates from staff. There is one staff member that we're not going to hear from tonight that I failed to recognize earlier, and I just want to make sure I do that now. Sally Austin is in the back of the room here. Sally became our bookkeeper in 2014, and if you want to give one person credit for Woldumar's turnaround in that time, you should thank Sally Austin. If you joined as a member, if you ever sent in a donation, Sally recorded that, Sally touched that check, but Sally does a whole lot more than bookkeeping here. In the last couple of months, she's been helping out with wedding tours. She's been, just whatever needs to be done. So Sally and I meet almost daily to talk about finances, bills that need to be paid, all of that. Every conversation ends with, and what else do you need me to do? And I mean, Sally just really goes all out for this organization. So thank you, Sally. Do you want to come up and say a few words? No, she does not want to say a few words. Okay. If looks could kill. But here's Allie.
All right, so I think the word thank you has been said a whole bunch, which is a shame because I had that written down a few times. But it's really hard to think that I've actually been here at Woldumar for 4 years. It's true what they say about time is flying when you are having fun. I think that we can all agree that Woldumar is a really special place. That's part of the reason that we're all in this room here. There is something that really attracted me to Woldumar, and that is something that I hear Kevin say very frequently, Kevin Warnett, say very frequently, and he said it to me in my interview. And it really explains a lot about what Woldumar is as an organization and who we are. And that phrase, hopefully you've heard it a time or two, is Woldumar is not just a pretty place to go, it is a cause and it is a community. I feel really grateful for the opportunities that I've had while I've been here. I'm really proud of the programs team and everything that we've accomplished, the challenges that we've had to overcome. But I'm really optimistic, which is something I'm hearing a lot too from the board, which is amazing. So that's fantastic. Of course, I have a couple of numbers to share about how great this year has been. So it is a little bit of a snapshot here. So we have done over 700 hours of programming this year. We've spent all that time dedicating to sharing our mission to educate people about the natural environment within our community. We're seeing steady growth in our field study programmings, both on-site, and we're traveling to schools more, which is fantastic. I am so grateful to all the incredible staff that has helped us pull off the largest year of Camp Discovery that we've had. Kevin said that our seasonal staff's amazing. Ashley absolutely stepped up, and we're really appreciative. So a big part of that, Kevin mentioned that we got a grant we received from MyLeap from the state. Lauren's going to tell you more about that, so don't worry. But that helped us boost capacity to serve over 700 campers with summer camp just alone. So that was amazing for us. One of the program team's goals that we had for this year was actually to engage more in our community especially. So we really boosted things like we had the birding series hikes, we did a firefly hike, we had Naturally Curious Day. So we were off-site and on-site. So we had gone out to the Michigan Science Teachers Association and we held a booth and we were connecting with teachers and telling them about what we can offer them in the community as well. Went to the Michigan Wildflower Association conference. That was awesome. Or Wildflower Association of Michigan conference. There we go. We had gone out to the Capitol lawn for quite a few events. So we've really been going out more in the community and engaging there, which is great. And we're really going to keep the ball rolling on a lot of those things. And I'm really excited. It's a joy to be able to share my passion for this organization that I've developed with so many people. And I'm really excited to see what this new year brings as we keep working towards these goals and just looking at all this growth. So thank you for your support. Like everyone's mentioned, this wouldn't be possible without you sitting in this room, sitting in this virtual room, and coming out. So it's really appreciated. So I hope that you stay curious and that you stay with us to see what's coming next. And what's coming next is Lauren.
Not a Kevin. Not a Kevin. Not a Kevin. Sorry to disappoint. Awesome. Yeah, so I will continue Allie's gratitude there and thank you all for being here, whether you're in person, online, in spirit, and can't hear me, presumably. It's really incredible to see all of the support for Woldumar in the community. My favorite anecdote to share with people when I am talking about my job here at Woldumar is every single person that I meet, that I say the word Woldumar, the very next words out of their mouth are, I love Woldumar. And I love being able to help people turn that passion into results and inspire future generations to be involved, to be curious, to explore the world, and every once in a while, run down a slip and slide. So, so thank you. Also, huge thanks to our board member, Randy, for making this hybrid meeting. We were a little worried about the weather, but really appreciate everyone that braved that, and to everyone at home, thank you for being with us in your heart. So I will try to keep this brief so that we can hear from our guest speaker next. So continuing to thank our members, the people who are sitting in this room. This year, I don't have graph numbers like Allie had, but that's okay, we'll just say numbers. Our membership grew again this year, just under 4%, as you see in your annual reports there. That was in part due to a membership campaign that we did over the summer, where new members were offered a t-shirt to join. We do have a few of those left over for anyone who missed out on that and would like to purchase one for $20. They're very comfortable. We also implemented a new database to track our membership relationships, and that was rolled out towards the end of the summer. You all should have gotten an email about it, and hopefully you've been able to log in and update your accounts seamlessly. That was supported by a grant from the Capital Region Community Foundation. We also modified our giving society structure. So one of our membership levels where you receive a sticker in return for that additional support, we discussed as a fund development committee about how we can make that easier to use for people. Everyone's going subscription style. And so we decided that a monthly structure might be easier for people to participate in. If you are interested in joining that giving society, please come talk to me. We can talk about levels and different ways to support in that way. You saw in the treasurer's report, our donations grew by more than $8,500. That was a big part of that was our 60th anniversary campaign, which we were wrapping up this time last year. So thank you to all of you that gave to that. That was a huge boost to end our year last year. Our grant awards were increased nearly $150,000, thanks in large part to a $120,000 grant from the Michigan Department of Lifelong Education, Advancement, and Potential in partnership with the Michigan Department of Education. That was an out-of-school time grant for our summer camp program. So that helped us hire additional staff at a more competitive hourly rate, which helped attract those staff members to join us for summer camp. Yeah, we were at capacity nearly every week. So that was amazing. Obviously, there is a huge need for those programs in the community, and we are happy to provide it. Other grant makers I want to make sure we mention, I mentioned the Capital Region Community Foundation. We also received a grant from the Joe D. Pentecost Foundation and the Yo and Yo Foundation this past year. In the coming year, I am looking forward to growing our membership even more. We are looking to implement a corporate membership program, so working out the details of what that looks like to help grow our base of support and the people in the community who enjoy supporting us. So I'm also hoping to build more relationships with local organizations who want to support the work that we're doing. I will look forward to working with other staff as well to develop new events. Allie mentioned our Naturally Curious Day event. That was a new event this year. It was very popular among parents with young children, so it could be a great opportunity to engage people, teach them about the camp programs that we offer, and keep those people coming in. And of course, we will continue to grow our annual trail run. This past year, and of course this current year, continue to be our largest trail runs each consecutive year. So it's great to see the community coming out to support us in that way as well. Obviously, the trails are one of the major attractants of people to come to Woldumar. So really love seeing people come out and enjoy the trails. And we might have to come up with a better parking plan for next year. There might be a grant for that. We'll see. If someone knew how to do those, that would be helpful. I will wrap up the same way I wrapped up last year. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention our ongoing fundraising campaign. If you've already made a donation to our 2024 year-end campaign, I want to thank you so much for that. We are just over halfway to our goal as of this morning, and we've gotten some more donations since then. So I'm looking forward to opening those up tomorrow morning and seeing where we're at then. We are incredibly grateful to the MSU-FCU Desk Drawer Foundation for providing a $5,000 match for gifts of $100 or more. If you think that's something that you can handle or are interested in participating in, please consider making a donation to help support our programming for next year. And please share that opportunity with your friends and family, because as we continue to bring in more members and more supporters, that helps our outreach to the community by having more voices, kind of amplifying the work that we do. So next slide is questions about anything that you've heard tonight so far. Okay, then I'll hand it off to Kevin.
This is your chance.
All right.
All right, next up. So our board of directors operate on 3-year terms. So it means that every 3 years, if that member wants to continue, we've got to elect them back in. So we have 4, and we've got ballots around somewhere, yes?
They were on the back table. If you did not get one on your way in, you could raise your hand and somebody can bring it around.
All right, yes, so yeah, keep your hands up if you need a ballot. So we have 4 current board members that are looking to get re-elected. Mary, Ann, Steph, and Jason. So Jason spoke to you earlier as our treasurer. A little side note on Jason. So our board terms are 3 years, and our board full kind of terming out is after 3 cycles, so 9 years. But we have this little catch-all in our bylaws that says we can elect a board member for 1 more year if we really, really want him on. And we really, really want Jason to serve 1 more year. As a transition year. Again, Jason in his role as treasurer and kind of what he brings to the organization has been invaluable in my kind of comparatively short 4 years here. So he's put 9 years in. He said he is, I believe the term was like willing to do whatever to help, move it along. And so we're saying whatever is 1 more year, Jason. And so, what we're going to do tonight is we would like to, all 4 of these board members have voiced support for being elected again to do another 3-year term. And so we're happy to have them be willing to serve in this way. We just need to make it official. And so with that, you see, hopefully you all have a ballot in front of you. And so what we're going to do is we'll do and I don't even have one in front of me. I don't have a ballot. Yeah, I'll vote. Yeah, I'll look at yours. Wait, I always say you voted. All right, so with this, we're going to have, I would like to entertain a motion to be able to elect, I think we have to do this with the paper ballot. So to vote on all 4 of these board of directors. We'll have a motion in a second, and then you can vote by paper ballot. So do you have a motion to entertain the vote for all 4 board members?
I will move to re-elect Stephanie Harrison, Jason Wilkinson, Mary Laux, and Ann Hanson.
Awesome, thank you. Is there a second? You don't need to repeat all those words, but. Second. Get a second? Thank you. All right, so all in favor then, please fill out again, this is a paper ballot. Go ahead and fill that out, and once you're done, I guess raise your hand, we can collect them, and then I appreciate that, and we'll go through the tallying after the meeting. Cool, thank you for that, and in anticipation of the results, yeah. Oh, I should do that, right? Yeah, so those 4 that were on the ballot, could you each please stand up so we can put faces to names? So that's, Mary's in the back. Okay, so Jason, raise your hand. There's Jason. This is Ann. Steph, you heard from right there in the back, and then Mary's in the back. Those are our 4, again, current and hopefully, again, board members. Thank you. All right, next up, we have a thing for, we just had that. So you'll notice in here a kind of a special announcement before we move on to the presentation. You've heard a lot of talk of volunteers, and actually specifically, Steph noted the work that Kevin Feldposh and Judy do here. When I started here, so we've got a Kevin. I started here as a Kevin, and there's another Kevin. You can't shake a stick around here without hitting a Kevin. And Kevin Feldposh is one of these rare individuals who not only volunteers, but has given, I think at this point, we're kind of back and forth on the dates, over 20 years of volunteer time here to Woldumar. And this goes beyond, all right, I come out and I cut invasives and do a couple hours of work. This is essentially a full-time staff person who in his retirement has come here dutifully for 20 years to do literally, as from a board perspective, everything we would hire kind of a groundskeeper, handy person to take care of. This is like, he does this and has done this for 20 years. So we'll start from the financial side of this. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of work, right? If we just want to go that route. But this is somebody who's given so deeply of his time, and I can't even fathom what he's given this organization. The point of bringing this up, not just because he does this, but because he's finally said, I'm going to go do something else, as he should. So Kevin has moved to Traverse City, found a place, I guess he's always been wanting to get up there, and so he is, I believe, has already physically moved. I was hoping he might be here tonight, but I think he's back and forth, and I think actually right now he might be hanging out with his dear friend Judy Gigante, and they're sharing probably some stories of all their volunteer times here. She's going to sorely miss him. We're all going to sorely miss him, but he's had such a presence around here, and will be missed. And so we were talking as a board and trying to, like, how do you? I don't know how you thank someone for that kind of time. But what we did want to do was at least offer some just sort of bit of gratitude. And when we were talking about it, somebody said, "Well, there's that tree. This is part that I don't know about, right? He's got an ash tree." I say he. Woldumar has an ash tree, right? But it sounds like he's been caring for this thing. As you know, ash trees are getting hammered by emerald ash borers all around. This one is not, it's still alive. And so this is a tree that's right out here on the property that I guess he's been kind of caring for and looking over in his time here. So what we would like to do tonight, we'll take this out of the frame, put it in the back, is just, if you feel inclined, a little thank you, a little signature, just something that he can take with him and hang up and have a little piece of Woldumar and some kind of thank you from us in his new beautiful home up north. And so we will certainly all, as we run into him, share our thanks. But if you know Kevin, if you see Kevin in the interim, thank him, because what he's given this organization, I don't understand how we can ever repay him. And as I guess, as we all know, you don't do this to be repaid, you do this because of the organization. But 20 plus years of a lot of work is just outstanding. So we'll have this at the back of the room. I would encourage you to just kind of sign a little thank you on it. And we'll make sure he gets this for that. So anyway, there you go. All right, move glasses. And next up, I think we've got our guest presentation. Oh, you got a little, okay, you got a little spiel.
Yeah, so we're, the next item on the agenda here, we are going to be treated to a presentation by Carolyn Miller. Carolyn received her bachelor's degree in botany and plant pathology from MSU and a master's degree in biology from Miami of Ohio, where her focus is, I kind of stumbled over Ohio there, which in Michigan, you know, it's kind of a curse word to begin with. But anyway, so, okay, so her focus is developing innovative ways to inspire urban residents to landscape with native plants to help support native pollinators. Since 2015, she's been the Arboretum and Invasive Plant Species Coordinator for Michigan State University, spending much of her time mapping, and that was mapping with an M, and recording data for all the trees and shrubs across more than 5,000 acres of campus. In addition, she is president of the Wildflower Association of Michigan, recording secretary for the Michigan Botanical Society, and vice president of the Great Lakes chapter of the Michigan Botanical Society. She has a small native plant landscaping business, Two Green Thumbs LLC, where she transforms unproductive lawns into productive pollinator habitat. She can be found spearheading efforts to remove invasive plants from local habitats and botanizing all over the state of Michigan with her wife, Diane. So please welcome Carolyn Miller.
Well, thank you, everybody. I don't know, was it about a month ago? I think Judy sent me a message and said, we'd like you to give a talk, you know, kind of dealing with climate change, invasive species, native plants, and your name came up quite frequently. So I said, sure. Native plants, I'm a botanist, so as you can tell, I love plants. And I am kind of concerned about climate change. So this was sort of an opportunity for me to sort of break out a little bit of my comfort zone of knowing a lot about native plants, but also kind of understanding the consequences of climate change on other things, such as invasive species, which is part of my I like killing things too. So I'll tell you what, I do work days in Baker Woodlot on campus every Friday afternoon for a couple hours. It kind of depends on how cold it is. But I usually get a lot of students and community members to come out, and it is so satisfying just to cut those things and put that little bit of glyphosate and say, see you later. And but it's, this is all a passion of mine. So here we go. So, climate change is among us. It's here. We're seeing more droughts. We've got increased heat stress. We have lower yields in crops because, like we had this past summer, we had a huge drought it affects the corn and soybean significantly. We have increased soil salinity. We, of course, have higher temperatures. We have wildfires. We have more flooding and more diseases and pests. I just got an email from the Entomology Society of America, and there's another corn borer that is probably going to move further up into our area. It's down in the south now, but because of climate change, it's going to come on up. So there's a lot that we have to think about. Okay, come on. Oh, now it goes too far. Invasive species, they're increasing. We're getting so many more invasive species that are coming in, things that are, and I'm particularly focused on plant material. The picture on the left is all those pink ribbons. Those are it's all buckthorn. This is along the Red Cedar River on campus, which is something I will be focusing on. The plant on the right, I don't know if anybody has seen this. This is Ficaria verna, commonly known as lesser celandine. It's evil. There is no other word to describe it. And we have it at Woldumar, so we do know that. I've been involved with a number of conservation districts, including Eaton, especially Eaton and Ingham Conservation District, which I serve as one of I'm on the steering committee and also a partner of the CISMA, which is the Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area. And we have started a coalition. We started that kind of late last fall, and it's growing. We're getting the word out there. This thing likes water, and it is moving down the river. And we're finding it in all sorts of waterways, in like more floodplains, but it's also being found in people's lawns, away from water. So we're trying to really track it. And I just have a feeling that climate change has a little something to do with it. We're getting more floods that have a faster velocity of water, especially on the Red Cedar. I'm right there and see it. And it gouges that, it scours, has like these little tubers, but they also have these little bulblets, which grow in the axils of the flower. Those drop off and they float, and down the river they go. So we just applied for a huge grant. We should know by February if we get it. But right now I'm doing a lot of outreach with everybody, just trying to get the word out there so that we can track it. So if you see it, tell us, because I'll be doing a lot of treating in people's yards. So while the conservation districts will be doing other areas, but just keep your eye out for it. But I really think climate change has a lot to do with why this thing is spreading. The other thing I found out is that vines are going to take over. And you can tell the one on the right, there's our lovely bittersweet. And as a side note, especially during the holidays, I tend to find those nice little vine wreaths for sale, and they have the seeds on them. Just look under Etsy. I couldn't tell you, last year, I sent so many emails to those people, said, do you know what this is? So hopefully look so pretty. We'll just go get some plastic beads and glue them on. So we can do something different. Anybody know what actually that's on the left. Anybody know what the plant on the right is? Yes, kudzu. So believe it or not, kudzu has been in Michigan. And it's something that I think somebody needs to check up on to make sure we've got it. But there was a site in St. Joe in the county somewhere. I'm not sure, we're not really sure what's happened with that, but there was also a sighting, and it's been eradicated. It was up in Traverse City because somebody moved from the south and loved it and brought it with them. So it could potentially be here, but again, with climate change, they're going to get more vigorous. So, and that also includes poison ivy, Virginia creeper, just saying. So we've got a lot to look out for. But it's thinking a minute. So what can we do? We can remove invasive species. We can restore those habitats. We can support Michigan environmental organizations, and we can swap turf grass for native plants. I'm one of those nutbags that took out all the turf grass in their yard and put native plants in. I didn't want to mow a lawn, so I'm doing my part. But you know, the biggest reason is look at the roots. That's turf grass. All those other plants are all Michigan native plants. So native plants can help, they can help mitigate climate change and all the things that happen. So things with big tap roots that go straight down. These are just a couple examples. We've got butterfly weed and compass plant. The fibrous root systems, big blue stem, prairie dropseed, one of my favorite grasses to use in my little landscape business. That's my side job, but I love doing it. And purple coneflower. These are some of the rhizomatous plants. These are the guys that play well with others, because nobody's going to put Canada goldenrod in their yard, so don't do that one. And there's a few others that get a little temperamental, but these guys, again, they're storing carbon. They're doing a lot for us. That's why it's important to take some of that turf grass in and just change it up a little bit. So why should we use native plants? By the year 2050, nearly 90% of the population will be living in urban areas. That's a lot of people in a small space. So you and I we have to become the stewards. And by taking some of the turf grass out and putting in native plants, we're doing a good service. So, and we also have to help our pollinators and all of our insects and the wildlife. So there's another reason why we need to put native plants into our yards. But if we look at these, ecological functions, they're low input landscapes. They conserve water. They can control runoff. As I said, I took out all the turf grass and I put in all native plants. So all the water that lands on those native plants, it stays there. It doesn't run off into the street, down the sewer drain and dumps into the river. So it stays on site. We can help climate change by sequestering carbon because of those extensive root systems. Preserve biodiversity, which is going to get important as the climate warms up. We can connect to nature. Can't tell you how many times I come home from work, I put a chair in the yard and I watch. So, and I am I'm actually a couple doors down from Ann over here. So, and I don't have any grass to mow. And I support native fauna. And there's also an evolutionary consequence with native plants. And so this is that special connection that we could potentially lose. If I'm right, the monarch butterfly has now been listed again, or maybe officially, as threatened. I think they wanted to do endangered, but they didn't get that. They did not get that wording. But this is evolution. And our native plants evolved with our insects that are here, not emerald ash borer. But losing those plants, we will lose that biodiversity as well. That's why it's so important. And it's all interconnected. So we put the native plants in, we get those primary consumers, which are insects. Above that, we get the secondary consumers. Those are our native birds. Our native birds need to feed on those insects that feed on those native plants. If you go up and look at, hydrangea limelight, which is a big cultivar, there aren't any insects on it. It's completely void of any insect life. And then at the top would be the tertiary, so such as the red-tailed hawk, that's gonna, it's gonna pick off the larger bird going downward. So it can be overwhelming, but we can all do our part to mitigate climate change. Start small. You don't have to be like me. I took out all the yard. But I also learned a lot in that process. There's a lot of plants that I put in that came back out because they were a little too aggressive. But start small. Research the plant material. Observe your area so that you know what is the sun like, how much sun is it getting, what is the soil type, because that can be important on what species you're going to put in, and what is the moisture. Educate yourself and your neighbors. I have, on each corner of my yard, I have there's two signs on each side that say, this is habitat. And so far, I keep it pretty well in check so that I don't get the lawn police coming by and say, well, you need to cut it all down. So, but just, it's all about education. And some of our, I'm with the Wild Ones group here in the Red Cedar Wild Ones, and we're kind of working on trying to draft up wording that we can bring to city councils and say, this is not a bad thing. This is actually good. So we're working on that. Have floral resources from spring until the frost hits. And then always have different flower shapes and colors, because insects see specific colors. And so that's what they get tuned to, and that's what they go after. Here's this is a shady area. I haven't put too many shade gardens in. I love the sun because there's so many different, there's a plethora of species for sun, but for shade, it's a little trickier to work with. I still enjoy doing it, but spring ephemerals. Put some spring ephemerals in your yard. It's so important for the early emerging bee species because they're all queens and they've all mated the year before, and they need food. They need food, they need nectar, and they need to find that in order to provision the next nest. So get some of those early native plants in. Goldenrods, again, just don't put in canopy goldenrod because you'll never get rid of it. If you've got a big field, that's fine. Just don't put it in your yard. And then this is the front of my house. This is what I did. I took out all the turf grass. I didn't want to mow. And all those other components that I talked about. That was the reason why. But besides plants, don't forget about shrubs and trees because they're often overlooked. Some of the keystone species to put in are quercus, which are oaks, prunus, which is black cherry, and salix, which are the willows. They all support hundreds of insect species. Quercus alone, especially Quercus alba, it's known to support over 400 insects. Those are going to feed our native birds, and then it goes further up the food chain. So just keep a thought on that. Shrubs add cover. If you want to put bird feeders out in the winter, I do, but I have shrubs close by that they can dive into when the Cooper's hawk figures out, oh yeah, this is where the food is in the wintertime. It has to think a second. The importance of placement and layers. This is a forest. So if you think of a forest, this is sort of what your yard or what your landscape should somewhat look like. You have your herbaceous layer. I often call that the matrix. That's the ground layer. That matrix is going to stop. It's going to help prevent weed seeds from popping up because it's going to make a nice thick bottom, kind of that bottom layer. Then you have your shrubs or small trees, and then you have your larger trees. I don't have any large trees in my yard. I've got 2 medium-sized trees, but they all play a part. This, you can consider it in a planting design. So your ground layer, sedges, short grasses, as I mentioned, prairie dropseed is my favorite grass to use. Doesn't get very big. It has a beautiful smell when it's throwing pollen a little bit. And it's just incredible, I don't know, woodsy smell that you can just smell it. Then you'll have your seasonal layer, which those are those groupings of plants that are everything is going to have its time. You'll have your spring bloomers, your midsummer bloomers, and your late bloomers. That's what they mean. And a structural layer. If you want a large tree, perfect. Small tree, like that medium-sized understory tree, perfect. It can also be a shrub of some sort. So, it doesn't have to be a tree. It can definitely be some really nice shrub. It could be a perfect shrub to go in. It's thinking again. There we go. So, quick takeaways. Again, what do native plants do? Low to zero input landscapes. I do fertilize mine that first year I put the plugs in. It just gives them a little extra oomph to get going, making those root systems for that first season. They mitigate water. It's the roots. All those roots make channels, and that's where the water goes down, in those channels. And even I put a rain garden in as well, and even for some of these big rain events, that rain garden fills up. But all those native plants that are in there, all that water just percolates right through, gets back into the groundwater versus running into the system. They store carbon in their roots. They preserve biodiversity, and it supports pollinators and other fauna. As I mentioned, start small, floral resources all throughout the year. That ground matrix, that's that bottom layer, so that it helps to preserve water. Things won't dry up as fast, and also stops the weed seeds from growing. Interspersed between that matrix, and everybody thinks, oh, I put native plants in, I don't have to do anything else. You have to do stuff. I know it plants seed like crazy, so as soon as they're done flowering, I lop their little heads off. I just have to, otherwise, anything can be prolific, so you still have to do a little maintenance on them. Various organizations to get involved with, Wildflower Association of Michigan, and next year's conference, which will be, it's always the first weekend of March, and I'm drawing a blank on the days again, but our theme is, if you plant it, they will come. So I've got a great line of speakers lined up, so I'm actually really excited about next year's conference. Wild ones, it's the national organization, and then there's local chapters. We have the Red Cedar chapter that's here in this area, Michigan Botanical Society. We have various meetings throughout the year with presentations, web event. I'm in the Great Lakes chapter, so that encompasses everybody in the Great Lakes, and we'll do online presentations. But we always have, every spring or fall, just depending on what we do, we always have a foray. And if you want to be side by side with some incredible botanists who are just as geeked as you are, it's a great experience. Become a master naturalist, MSU Extension, conservation stewards, which is also through MSU Extension. And you can also get involved with your Woldumar Conservation District, our conservation districts. Every county has a conservation district, so you can easily get involved with there. And that's it. So thank you. Oh, real quick. There are black-eyed Susan seeds in the back. So it's the perfect time to just toss them because they need to get a little bit of their cold period. So toss them tonight, you'll be fine. Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, will do. All right. Already thinking about spring and planting, right? Yeah. So with that, we're going to kind of come to a close in our program. Again, thanks everybody for coming out. We'd like one more thank you. So many thank yous, right? Foster Swift for donating money for the food tonight. So if you haven't snacked, do so on your way out the door, and thanks to them for that support. And with that, 7:50 p.m., let's call this annual meeting adjourned. Travel safe, and I don't know if we'll do a owl prowl or not, or if it's too non-owly out there. We'll see if you're super interested. And with that too, obviously, if you've got questions, comments, anything for any one of us before you leave tonight or afterwards, just walk up and say hi and thank you, and travel safely going home too. Have a good winter.
So if anybody is interested in an owl prowl, I would say let's meet. Let's just meet in the back of the room here in about 10 minutes. I'm willing to do it. I'm equipped to do it. I brought the gear. I was actually out deer hunting a while back, one of the really cold, snowy days, and my wife texted me to say, how's it going? I said, I think I might be the only critter dumb enough to actually be out in the woods right now. But no.
What's the segue?
So, yeah, if you want to go, we'll meet up in the back of the room here in about 10 minutes.